To install WordPress, you'll need the WordPress files and a place to install these files. To do that, you'll need 7 things. Some you may already have. You'll need a hosting service, a domain name, an FTP program, the WordPress software, an unzip program, and a browser. A web hosting service or provider is a company that provides space on a remote server as well as providing internet connectivity for use by their customers. Services provided by a hosting service varies widely. Your comfort level with and knowledge about using a remote server should be a key factor in seeking a service provider. Most reliable companies have the necessary software installed on their servers to meet the WordPress requirements. So if you're new or don't want to worry about the hosting details, then seek a provider that has good support and one that uses the cPanel. A cPanel is a graphical interface control panel to simplify the process of managing your account. Registering a domain name is a separate process but can often be done by the web hosting service. You never actually own a domain name, but instead you pay for the rights to use that domain name by paying an annual fee to a domain registrar. The Internet Corporation for Assigned Names and Numbers, or ICANN, oversees this process and authorizes these domain name registrars. Bluehost is a web hosting company that is recommended by WordPress and is a great choice. They even register you a domain name at no additional charge. After you have the hosting and the domain name set up, you'll need the WordPress software. Download the latest stable zipped version to your local computer at wordpress.org/download. WordPress comes in a zipped file format, which is a compression format to make the file smaller and faster to download. In order to unzip this file, you'll need an unzip program. Most computers come with the ability to unzip a file, but if yours does not have that ability, then download and install the free program 7-zip at 7-zip.org. Unzip the WordPress zip file. On my computer, I can select the file and click the right mouse key and select Extract from the drop-down. This will start the unzipped process. If you're using 7-zip, then open the program and select this file for extraction. Finally, you'll also need a program to transfer the WordPress files to the remote computer. We'll be using FileZilla for our FTP or File Transfer Protocol program. This is a free program that can be downloaded and installed from filezilla-project.org. Make sure you install the client version. Now that we have all the files and programs we need, we can start the actual installation process. Our first step from here is to create a database for WordPress to use to store our data. We'll need the username and the password for this database when we finish this process. Log into the cPanel with the information provided by the hosting company. Locate the MySQL database wizard on the cPanel. We will now need to enter the name of our new database in the New Database field. Enter any name you want that meets the naming protocols of the host server and click the Next Step button. Enter a username in the Username field and enter a password in the Password field. You may need to enter the password again to confirm this password. Make sure you use a strong password to prevent any attempts to hack the database. Click the Create User button. Now we will need to give this user privileges to access the database. The user will need all privileges, so select the All Privileges button or select each privilege and click the Next Step button. That completes the creation of the database. You will now have a username and a password for this user. Copy this to a text editor like Notepad because we'll need this later. One final piece of information you'll need is the name of the host for the MySQL database. This is usually a local host, but can easily be checked by clicking on the PHP My Admin button on the cPanel. This will open the MySQL database, and at the top of this panel is the host name. We now have the username, password, and the host name. Next, we need to get the operating files on the remote server so they can work with the database. Open your FTP program. We're using FileZilla. Connect to the site by using the domain name, the username, and the password associated with that username that the hosting company provided to log in into your hosting account. These are different from the database information from earlier. This will connect you to the root directory on the remote server. Click on the public_HTML folder. WordPress can be installed in this directory, or you can create a subdirectory and install WordPress there. We will install the WordPress files in this main directory. Now click on the unzipped WordPress folder and you'll find another WordPress folder. Click on this additional folder. Inside, you'll see all the WordPress files we need to upload to the remote server. Select the first directory or file, then move the scroll bar down to the bottom and hold the Shift key down and click on the last file or directory. This will select the files and directories. Now hover the mouse over the selected files and directories and holding the left mouse button down and drag the files and directories to the remote server panel. This will start the download process. After it finishes, you will have successfully installed WordPress. And now we need to run the WordPress install script. Open a browser and enter the domain name in the address window bar and press enter. This will start the install process. Since WordPress cannot find the wp-config.php file, which it needs to operate the site, it'll create one for you. Click on the Create a Configuration File button. The next screen will list all the information you'll need to continue. We just created this information and have it copied to Notepad for easy access. Click on the Let's Go button. WordPress will ask you the database details so it can write them to the new wp-config.php file. Open the Notepad file with the information and simply cut and paste the information into the fields. The database name here, the username, the password, the database host if it is different than localhost, and the table prefix, which can be left as is or can be changed to something else like SC, for instance. Click the Submit button. This will activate a screen to run the install so WordPress can enter all the necessary information in the wp-config.php file. And last, a welcome screen for a few more details. At this point, you can actually enter just an email address and click the Install WordPress button, and the process will complete. WordPress will assign a random password, which you can change the first time you log into the admin panel. And you will be sent an email with the information to the address you entered. If you want to fill in the information, then the site name is what appears in the header of your site. The username can be changed to help prevent hacks, and the password can be one you can remember. A valid email address that WordPress uses for administrative emails, and the last line allows for search engines to find your site. You can uncheck this box if you're in the process of setting up a new site. You can change this and all the other information later. Click on Install WordPress and you'll get a success screen. Click on the Login button to activate the login screen. Enter the username and the password and click Login, and you will have successfully completed the process. That completes the install process.